Bonsoir tout le monde, goedenavond iedereen, welkom, bienvenue à tout le monde. Prenez place, mettez-vous à l'aise chez vous, neem plaats en zet je op je gemak thuis in de sofa en neem even tijd voor deze sessiefinale. Bienvenue donc au Sessy, les Sessy Awards organisés par UStart, 4e édition déjà. Dit is de 4e editie van de finale van de Sessy Awards. Welkom iedereen. Dus een klein woordje over UStart. UStart is het grootste studentennetwerk van studentondernemers in België. Un rapide petit mot de UStart. Donc UStart est le plus grand club d'étudiants entrepreneurs en Belgique. Ils sont présents donc sur 11 différents campus en Belgique avec plus de 17 universités, avec plus de 150 étudiants qui sont impliqués dans cette association. Dus UStart is verspreid over 11 verschillende campussen met 17 verschillende universiteiten en in totaal zijn er een 150-tal studenten die meewerken in UStart. Dus deze avond vieren we de sessie en organiseren we de Sessy Awards om het start-up en student-ondernemersproject te belonen. Ce soir, nous organisons donc la finale pour récompenser la start-up et le projet entrepreneur de l'année. Donc je vais passer le mot à Paul Ruet pour la présentation de la soirée. Il va vous guider toute la soirée. Profitez-en. Ik geef nu het woord aan Paul Ruet. Hij gaat u tijdens heel de avond begeleiden. Geniet ervan en profiteer gewoon van de avond.
Good evening, everyone. I'll be your host for tonight for this very exciting time here at the Sessy, hearing both the student startup, the student project of the year, and also a very great panel that I will discuss just a bit later. Our planning today is that we will first have the student startups, then we will have the 4 student projects of the year that have been selected so far, and finally we'll have the panel before awarding the prizes to the different startups and projects of the year. Before we start, I'd like to take a minute to introduce our beloved jury members who took the time, even in this difficult period, to join us and to be here present for the team to assess the pitches that they will see. In our jury tonight, we have Claire Monk, who's president of P Angels. We have Olivier Kegels, founder of the cowork MV. We have on the right, Nathalie Kog, who's the head of community management at BNP Paribas Fortis. We have Nicolas Stezel, who's the co-founder of Xkey. I'm sure everyone knows about Xkey, so I won't introduce it. We have also Emna Evrard joining us tonight. She's the co-founder of Casidomi. I'm sure a lot of people who are watching us tonight have already ordered healthy and organic products via Casidomi. And finally, we have Peter Timmermans. Peter Timmermans, as you know, is the president of the Belgian Federation of Enterprises. Thanks to the 6 of you for joining us. Without further ado, the format of the student startup pitches, we will have 2 minutes of video for each of those different startups. Then they themselves will have 4 minutes to pitch. And finally, we'll have 3 minutes of Q&A. Just for you to know, if you are watching us at home, don't hesitate to already take your phone, join the Woo Club, because you'll be invited at some later point to both vote and ask some questions. Without further ado, we will watch the first video, which is the video of Scarab Sports.
Hi, I'm Tanguy Ongena, I'm 22 years old, and together with my co-founders Matthias and Oliver, we created Scarab Sports. Nowadays, athlete profiling is too much focused on the physical aspect. Scarab Sports is developing a new sport technology to test and train objectively players on their other parts, namely cognitive technical aspects. Last year, on a master course, I had the extreme luck to partner with 2 wonderful people on a big project. By the end of the course, the project was that good that we won the Public's Choice Award. For us, that was really the go, and Scarab Sports was born. It's a road with a lot of obstacles you have to overcome. For us, the biggest difficulty was to find the right funding strategy for developing our technology. I had the big luck to find an agreement with the University of Ghent to do my master thesis on researching for optimization of our own product at Scarab Sports. Perfect combo, isn't it? I would like to advise every student that if you have an idea or if you bear the feeling to one day start your own company, I have only one sentence for you, it's just do it. To prove to you and to show you everything that I said and that I talked about, I think it's a good idea to listen to what one of our future clients, Ghent, has to say about our project.
We were approached by Scarab Sports in regard to their product. They made the presentation and we were impressed immediately by the functionality. We are always searching for opportunities, and with this product we feel that we are able to evaluate functional technique. Functional technique for us means the connection between being able to perform the right technique connected with performing the right decision.
Hello everyone. I will present you to our startup Scarab Sports. First of all, I want to show you this picture and ask you the next question. Which of these two young players should you pick in your team if you have to decide? Well, the answer is actually that we can't know that. Our focus goes too much to the big players, of course, because he's strong, he's big, we can see that, we can measure that. But it's not only the physical part that defines a great football player. There are many other aspects, and that's where Scarab Sports comes in. We want to add perceptual, cognitive, and technical skill measurement to the objective screening of a player. In that way, we want to discover more talents and have less waste of talents. We managed to generate a first prototype in our garage and test it at the first division club, Zulte Waregem. Here you can see their striker interacting with our products, and he's reacting on the lights. He has to think, he has to make decisions and then act accordingly with his feet, use the right technique. It was completely off the shelf, made in the garage, but already there we saw from a first division player the motivation and the eager to train with our tools that motivated us to continue and develop our product further. So that's what we did, and this is the result. It's called the Plate. The Plate is an interactive and smart rebounder. It's first of all a flexible training assistant. Why flexible? Because we can test players as well as train them in a variety of exercises on two aspects: the cognitive aspect, cognitive skills, and the technical skills. Cognitive, how do we do that? We give visual impulses, so they have to use their perceptual skills and make right decision, the cognition then. And thanks to the rebound capabilities, we added ball interaction. This means that we trigger their technique. Of course, thanks to the sensors in our board, we're able to measure their performance and visualize and evaluate them on our application. Most important thing is that we add flexible data integration for the club so that they can add our data to their already existing big database. Today, by testing and training them on the actual status, we create more performant players. But once we will do that on a regular basis, train them on their technical and cognitive skills over the years, we will create a bigger value around the player. We will create a bigger and more complete player profile, and in that way generate a bigger pool of talents and have less waste, as mentioned in the beginning. About 1,000 clubs in Europe will be our target, and we will target them by asking first of all a boarding fee to initialize everything between the clubs and Scarab Sports, followed by a monthly subscription based on their needs, the number of plates they want, the service they like, and the complexity of data. Today there are already 3 upcoming partnerships in the pipeline with 3 first division clubs in Belgium, big ones, AA Gent, OHL Leuven, and Royal Antwerp. They will be our ambassadors, they will bring sports science and validation to our product, and very important, if everything goes well, be our first customers at Market Launch. It's not only with the clubs, of course. I have to introduce my team. I couldn't do this without them. Oliver, Matthias, and our sports advisor, Thomas Kaars. Everything started from our big passion of sports, the steps we did, and most importantly, the steps we have to take to generate this bigger talents pool and have less waste, That's what we will do with this team. And thanks to our sports advisor, Thomas Kaars, the sports science is added as well. I'm almost at the end of my presentation. I want to give a small overview of the future. As an IMEC UStart startup, we are creating now high-fidelity prototypes, and with that, we will do some pilot setups with our future clients, start up the pre-sale, and go in a straight line towards our market launch by the end of the year. And of course, we won't stop there. We will target other sports in the future. In 2023, we will go to the hockey, ice hockey, and who knows what the future brings next. I want to finish this presentation by wishing you all the best, thanking you very much for your attention, and may you hit your next level. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Scarab Sports. Now we have time for just only two questions from our beloved jury. Who wants to open the floor? Claire wants to open the floor, it seems.
Thank you. Should it work? Can you hear me? Yes?
Yep, perfectly.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Can you tell us more about actual competition in cognitive techniques? What exists on the market and how are you different from existing solutions?
Yeah, so there are a lot of interactive training tools already on the market. But the big USPs where we differ, it's the added ball interaction. This means that we add, thanks to the visualization, visual impulses, we trigger the cognitive. That a lot of other competitors do that as well. But the combination with the right technique, because of the ball interaction with the product, that's really something new. And that's also what our future client Agen said in the little movie. It's that combination that is really a breakthrough in the market.
All right, we have time for a second question from Emma.
Thanks a lot for the presentation. Super cool product and very cool pitch as well.
Thanks.
I had a question about the cost of the product. I don't think you mentioned it. What's the cost, and what are the revenues you think you can reach in the next few years?
Yeah, we have to be very careful at this moment with this question, because as you saw, there is a lot of scientific research coming up around the data. This will hopefully and probably increase the value enormously. So it's really difficult to tell now a price that will be increased in a couple of months thanks to the scientific research. But maybe a frame is interesting to give you. So per club, each year we reach about between the 8,000 and 10,000 euros for a yearly contract. But as I said, it can be less, it can be more. It's something the value-based pricing will be developing in the coming months, especially due to that scientific research. Thanks.
All right. We thank you, teams Scarab Sports, for joining us. The jury can already take all the notes they want because for the student startup of the year, it's the complete grade is determined by the jury. And for the student project of the year, this will be both the jury and also the public. So, as I said before, if you are watching us tonight and you are at home, don't forget to grab your smartphone and get ready to vote. It's not now yet, but this will be soon. I'd like to, before I invite the next team on stage, I'd like to give a quick shout to one of our sponsors, Ifori. Ifori is a niche legal consultancy that can help you with all your IP or intangible assets issues. Don't hesitate to check out this very valuable legal company. Now I'd like to, I'm inviting you all to watch the video of Weequity before we see their pitch.
Hi, I'm Frank. I'm leading the product development at Weequity. At Weequity, we leverage AI and data analytics to provide information for sustainable investment.
My name is Gabriel, and I'm a co-founder of Weequity.
So I first got the desire to start my own business while working on previous projects called Civics, trying to reconnect youth and politics. And today with Gabe, we're trying to get a similar impact, but in sustainable finance while working on Weequity.
The biggest difficulty when setting up your own startup is actually also the most exciting part. You have to do everything. From making your website, to designing your logo, to developing your product, to even doing accounting. But if you don't do it, nobody else is going to do it. And that's really exciting about it. To manage the studies and the startup at the same time, there are two key elements: organization and communication. You need to get organized, you need to plan your days, have an agenda, break down your tasks. But even more importantly, when you have a team, Frank and I, we really communicate as much as possible.
If you have an idea, just test it. Entrepreneurship is about learning by doing. And even if it doesn't work out, at least you've learned a lot.
One funny story about our project Weequity is that on our first day at the co-working space, we arrived and didn't know there was an alarm. Result was, it rang for 5 minutes and we had to wait for a security guard. But the great part of this one is that we got to meet the incubator staff and get to know them better. And it was definitely a memorable start to our journey and for the many years to come. If you like what we do, check out our website and our Facebook page. Thank you.
Did you know that investment funds in Belgium that are called sustainable include companies that are involved in coal industry, in the weapon industry, and even in animal testing? This is a problem we found out with our insights, and it's a data problem that we want to solve because we believe that money, when allocated effectively, can make a real impact for society. And we want to help financial institutions achieve that impact and invest sustainably. There are two main reasons financial institutions need data. Firstly, as you can see, the sustainable investing industry has been growing massively. In order to show that the companies they invest in are actually sustainable, the companies and financial institutions, such as banks and asset managers, they need the data to show that those companies are sustainable. And the second reason why they need data is because of tightening regulation. Tightening regulation means that in order to comply with this data, with this regulation, they need to show that the companies they invest in are in fact sustainable. The challenge today is that either with the current players such as MSCI, Sustainalytics, or True Value Labs, the data can sometimes be inaccessible, or it can be very expensive. And subscriptions go up to $250,000 a year. And that's where Weequity comes in.
So very concretely, we find this data, and in contrast with other data providers, we use no-code tools, we used pre-trained AI models to be able to process this data and enable investors and our clients to assess whether the investments are truly sustainable. So for example, one of the products we developed scans in real time social media and news to enable our clients to assess whether the companies they're investing are operating in controversial activities. Even more concretely, if you've invested in a company called Shell, and tomorrow an article in the Financial Times discloses that Shell is drilling an oil platform in the Arctic Ocean, you will be aware of the related sustainability and reputational risks within seconds.
So currently, we have 6 beta testers with whom we're testing both our data feeds and our online dashboard. And actually, within the next week, we're confirming a contract with one of our clients who's willing to pay 500 euros a month for one specific data feed. And so based on the validation we've had with our clients and the conversations, we expect that we're going to be able to generate 200,000 euros of revenue within the first year. Subsequently, since we're planning a fundraising, which will enable us to both boost sales and technological development much more flexibly, we think that within the next 3 years, we'll be able to have an annual revenue of 1.5 million. So, our team, I'm Gabriel. I did my undergraduate at Oxford University in economics before doing my master's at UC Louvain. I founded an NGO in advocacy for sustainable investments in the UK, and I interned at both Google and McKinsey.
Hi, I'm Frank. I'm leading product development. I previously co-founded Civics and currently finishing my master's in law and entrepreneurship at UC Louvain. I've had some prior professional experience in law firms and in a startup studio. So in the past few months, we've made progress very quickly. During our market research, we've met with more than 100 experts and currently beta testing with 6 clients, including asset managers, NGOs, and fintech startups. We've also gathered strong support and built numerous data partnerships with sustainable finance actors. And in order to fund our development, we launched digital consultancy services, and we've generated more than 16,000 euros in revenues in less than 3 months. Thank you for your time. If you have any question, please feel free to ask them. We'll be more than happy to answer them. In the meantime, please take a peek at our slides at our dashboard here.
Thank you, guys, from Weequity. 2 more questions from the jury. Who wants to ask a question? Please.
Can you tell me what are the main criteria for saying that the company is sustainable? You spoke about some kind of article in the press, but what are the main criteria are valid for you?
Yeah, so can I just clarify the question to make sure? So are you talking about sustainability in general within our models?
Within your models.
Okay. So there are a wide range of ways of looking at sustainability in finance. It goes from the most basic one, which is exclusionary based on the main activity of a company. So it's involved in coal, in oil and gas, weapons, etc. But then you can go all the way to much more active, actually looking at what the company is doing in terms of, for example, carbon neutrality, looking at biodiversity loss. So really we're looking at a wide range of things, and we use the criteria that are developed by frameworks like the GR, like General Reporting Initiative, or SASB, which is a US-based sustainability framework. And we look at very actively how our company is involved and then how is it reported in the media. And that's the latest tool Frank told about.
A second question. Please, Claire. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Do you have or do you envisage any role for you in the follow-up or corrective measures for your clients to diversify their portfolio? And a related question is that it's kind of a negative screening approach. Do you envisage that your tool could have a positive screening approach?
So for sure. So right now we started with negative screening because the data was most available and it's the easiest, and that's what we partner with NGOs on. But definitely, since we're looking at a wide range of different products on our pipeline that you can actually see here. So some of them are looking at much more actively, which companies have pledged to go carbon neutral within the next 20 years, which one are actually, doing a lot on, for example, gender balance, and are actively looking at it. So we need to look at forward screening. So for sure, that's definitely something that we are integrating right now, but are looking forward to do in the future.
Perfect. Thank you guys for joining us. Now what we will have is a small video from one of our partners, Xerius, before we see the video of the next team.
Devenir indépendant est plus que jamais un travail d'équipe. Démarrez rassuré comme indépendant. Du numéro de TVA à la création de votre entreprise, nos experts sont à vos côtés. Xerius, c'est ça, gagne entreprendre.
And now we will watch the video of Tulipal.
Hello, I'm Lucas Icades. I'm 23 years old. I'm the CEO and co-founder of our medtech committed startup, Tulipal. I'm studying engineering and I'm currently studying management. It all started 2 years ago with an entrepreneur's course. After this course, my friends and teachers encouraged me to continue with this innovative and positive impact-driven solution. So I decided to stop all my academic activities and focus on Tulipal, our project. There have been several obstacles, and the one that happened the most of the times and demands a lot of resilience is the team changes. Teamwork is one of the most critical aspects of a startup, and ours have changed several times. I managed to reconstruct the team at least 3 times during the last 2 years. So how I handle being in a startup while having my studies? So I think the key is to have a good time management. I create my own calendar, and since I've been invested in a lot of extra academic activities, I learn a lot. I think the hardest part was when I was abroad in my Erasmus. Do you want to launch your startup as a student? I will say go for it, test, try your idea, and in fact you have nothing to lose other than your time and a lot to win: experiences, learning, meeting awesome people, and a lot of new experience in awesome projects. And what's the worst case scenario? Making a flop, you will learn a lot, so I don't see it as a failure. Anecdote about Tulipal, I think I have hundreds of them, because since I'm not menstruated, I find myself in weird situations talking with menstruated people about periods, which has been traditionally a taboo conversation. So it's quite funny because people get surprised at first. But anyway, if you want to demystify periods with us, just go to tulipal.com.
We have the pleasure of presenting Tulipal, our MedTech committed startup. As you might know, the menstrual cap is an environmentally friendly alternative to traditional protections, such as tampons and pads, that has a lot of advantages. So it is ecologic, healthy, and economic.
Unfortunately, it has also some drawbacks. So through interviews and surveys, we targeted the two main issues of these protections, which are the cleaning in public places in the absence of a private sink and the sterilization at home. In fact, it's recommended to change your menstrual cup 3 to 4 times a day, but 71% of menstruated people do not have access to a private sink, leading to 2/3 of those people not following the sanitary recommendations.
Hopefully, Tulipal has a solution. We've developed a reusable and portable device to clean your menstrual cap in the absence of a private sink. You just fill with water, put the menstrual cap inside, close the device, you start turning up the upper joystick, you shake a little bit, and then you can empty it in your private toilet. Thanks to our magnetic mechanism, you can easily recover your washed cap. So we want to change periods with innovation through a solution developed with other menstrual cap users and for menstrual cap users.
So our product cleans menstrual cups in the absence of a private sink, which forced us to develop something handy, compact, lightweight, and portable while keeping an eco-design methodology. So thanks to those characteristics, you can use it wherever and whenever you want to clean your menstrual cup without any barriers.
So parallel to the development of our device, we are a startup driven by making positive impact. So we have two clear missions behind. The first one is the ecologic transition, and then we have the gender equality. So on one hand, we created a device which is an eco-responsible conception, meaning that it's reusable at least for 5 years and is produced locally. In fact, we aim to allow menstruated people to make the shift to the menstrual cap, thus contributing to the ecologic transition.
So on the other hand, there is the gender equality. We really want to allow people to live their periods in a simpler and healthier way, but also to denounce myths and taboos that are still existing around menstruations by demystifying it. And finally, we are fighting against menstrual poverty by collaborating with local NGOs and student associations.
So here we have some numbers and figures that characterize the current situation of Tulipal. I would like to talk to you about 4 of them. So the first one is regarding the innovation. We have successfully developed and patented 3 devices that has been tested by real users. Then regarding the impact, we have carried a lot of projects as the ones mentioned before. Regarding the business, there's a business factor that shows how our device solves a real problematic. 94% of menstrual cap users want to use our device. Then we want to create a shift in people consumption habits, thus creating this transition in ecology. Then, in fact, among the previous menstrual cap users, there's 70% that wants to shift to the cap. And regarding the non-menstrual cap users, there's 60% that will shift to the cap thanks to our device.
So what is waiting for us for the few next months? We are currently involved in the R&D of a new version of our product, but also implementing the sterilization so that we can offer a 2-in-1 product. We are also preparing our fundings thanks to a crowdfunding that will take place next month, but also by launching a pre-buy phase. And finally, we are going to be more business focused, thanks to an improvement of our marketing and customer acquisitions, but also by doing sales analysis and forecasts, and finally by setting up the logistic chain. So thank you everybody for your attention. Does anyone have a question?
2 more questions, please.
I go ahead. Thanks a lot. Super interesting, and yeah, you should contact Gasidemi because that's the kind of products we really like. I had 2 questions. What would be your marketing strategy? How would you plan to sell the products? How would you communicate about them, and how would you then reach the woman? And then what would be your distribution channels?
So regarding our marketing strategy, so we want to start with the French part in Brussels and here in Belgium. So the idea was to create a first community of early adopters that allow us to better success in our crowdfunding. So nowadays we have like 300 early adopters, what we call ambassadors, that we will help us during this phase. And we are highly active in growing our community, for example, in Instagram. And that's the answer to your first question.
And for the second part of the question, we would like to, of course, have an e-commerce, e-shop, but also to collaborate with some bio shop, for example, or other internet sites which are engaged and committed to the same value that we defend with our project.
Like make a B2B2C with bio markets like Asidomi or other must-well cap businesses that have provided to have already a market. Okay, that's all.
Okay, I think Olivier, you also had a question.
Yeah, I have a question regarding IP. How will you prevent that someone else will copy this and improve on this?
So as I said previously, we have written by ourselves and submitted 2 patents. So we have submitted a patent regarding our cleaner, and we are already submitted a patent for the 2-in-1 device for sterilization and cleaning. And an interesting part is that we've done a good prior art research. So we know a lot about the ecosystem regarding the eventually future competitors. So that helps us a lot to analyze the future market opportunities.
Perfect. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. And thanks to you guys for the questions. Now I'd like to introduce one of our other sponsors that I haven't introduced yet, Impulse Now, who is your partner for communication and making sure that your business takes off the ground. I invite you to watch now this very cool video of the already fourth student startup. This startup is Dripple.
Hi, my name is Colin. I'm one of the 3 co-founders of Dripple, the package-free vending machine with healthy lemonades.
Hi everyone, I'm Lucas, one of the 3 co-founders, and I'm the main software engineer for Dripple, for this machine right here.
About 1 year ago, Lucas, my co-founder, and we were standing at an old vending machine. I had a drinking bottle in my hand, and at that moment I wanted to buy something fresh, something tasty. And at that moment I realized how ridiculous it is that I can refill my bottle every with water. But from the moment I want something tasty, it's always in single-use packaging.
So for us, the starting phase was most definitely the hardest one. We had to put in a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of money into the project. We didn't have any positive reinforcement yet, but as soon as the project came out, people started liking it, and we were off it.
So managing a startup and your studies at the same time is not easy. You have to prioritize a lot, give up some free time as well. But doing the combination is certainly possible by really having a strict time planning. So if I could give some advice at this moment to other students who want to start up a startup, is foremost have a vision, follow that vision, but just start as well. So you don't have to define a business plan beforehand. Follow the vision and really go practical to work. Test, validate, and take small steps, and the answers will come, the answers to your business plan will come along the way.
Alright, and now for a funny anecdote. At one of our first machine prototype test sites, we had one particular user who brought with him a 5-liter container just so he could fill it up with Dripple drinks for his children back at home. And if you are just as excited, follow us on the website, dripple.be.
Hi, this is Lucas, I'm Colin. We're the founders of Dripple. So some time ago, Lucas and I were standing at an old vending machine. I wanted to buy an iced tea, and I had a drinking bottle in my hand, a dopper. And at that moment, we said to each other, how ridiculous is it that soda is only available in single-use packaging, which results in a huge waste mountain as high as the Eiffel Tower on a daily basis. Taking a look at the soda itself, this is actually just water with some flavor added, which means that there are tons of trucks driving around filled with up to 80% water, while tap water is available everywhere. Ridiculous. And third, we took a look at the flavor itself, seeing that these are filled with either sugar, still filled with either sugar, or 0 calorie, between quotation marks, filled with chemical weird additives. So with Dripple, we want to counter these issues. We introduce a new way of consuming soda. Say hi to the Dripple refill point, a package-free vending machine where you can refill your bottle with a healthy lemonade. You just place your bottle, choose a favorite flavor, and tap away. So these drinks are a healthy alternative with up to 75% less sugar, all natural ingredients, and craft-made. So this is how we want to reinvent this outdated beverage industry by combining three macro trends: sustainability, health, and convenience. Employers realize this too. They are searching for a healthy and sustainable alternative at the office floor. And these employers, they pay us a monthly fee existing out of rent and service, and the sodas are bought on variable basis. The bottom line cost of a Dripple drink is then about 60 cents per drink. With this validated business model, we look at a market in Flanders, a potential market of about 10,000 Dripple refill points. We address this market by partnering with the big business caterers, so Sodexo, ISS, and Compass Group, doing direct B2B sales and stimulating bottom-up marketing.
All right, so how is this going for us right now? Well, up until this point, this very moment, we have already saved 10,000 single-use packages in the real world. So by May 2021, we are looking at 30 refill points out there in the field, which will dispense on average 50 drinks per day. Next to that, we will be starting up production of 10 refill points on a monthly basis for customers such as JBC, Sodexo, and Coolblue. So how did this all get started? Well, in February 2020, we launched our first pilot test. Then in June, we started raising some funds to get the second prototype working, the second version working by October. Now we're just about finishing up a 300K leverage round to get the first production started for the end of May. But it doesn't stop there. It definitely doesn't. We are looking at international expansion by 2023, where we focus on new types of locations, SMEs, schools, and so on. So who is the team behind all of these ambitious plans? Well, this right here is Colin. He's in charge of sales and finance. Then we have Matthijs, our in-house designer. And then Lucas and myself are in charge of engineering, software and hardware. We are also supported by our trusted advisors. And our accelerator started at KBC. So join us. Join our movement in drinking delicious soda, good for you and the planet. Thank you.
Thank you, guys from Dripple. 2 questions, please.
Thank you for a really nice presentation. I just have one question. I think, as you already mentioned, your product is very well suited for company floors, for sports clubs. But I can imagine that since these activities are currently really impacted by COVID, that this has been a challenge for you. And how did you cope with that challenge?
Sure. So the first sales or the first clients were actually office spaces, co-working spaces. Then we did a small pivot and looked to more corona-proof location, like distribution centers, production locations as well, like the distribution center of Coolblue, the warehouse of EABC, so locations like that. And at this moment, we're doing a pre-order sales, which is actually going quite well. with the wind in the back. I don't know if that's a saying, but really we see that employees really want to anticipate on an office floor that's healthy, that's sustainable, that's actually the optimal working environment for when the employees can return. Exactly.
Does that answer your question, Natalie? Perfect. Who else has a question? Peter, please.
Thank you for your presentation. Selling a product is one thing, but here you have to have a sort of service that can repair machines, can fix them, and of course you have to respect some measures about imposed by the government or by the legal authorities. Do you have a service for that?
Yeah, indeed. So at this moment, we actually do the most of technical support maintenance ourselves. So with the first refill points, that's also possible. At this moment, we partnered with bigger caterers, so the locations where the bigger corporates are, they actually do all the operations to refilling and the yearly maintenance and stuff like that. And for the locations, that's directly between Drupal and the end customer and the customer itself. We also have an external partner now who's taking care of the refilling and the maintenance side.
Did that answer your question, Peter? Perfect. Thank you guys for joining us. And this was already the last team for the Student Startup of the Year. We will now have the Student Projects of the Year. The format will be slightly different. No pitches, just 2 minutes of video and then 3 minutes of Q&A. We'll try again to be as fair as possible and let all the jury members have their chance to ask the questions they have. Without further ado, let's watch the video of Cook For Me.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Julien et avec mon pote Pierre Parent, on va vous présenter le projet Cook For Me.
Salut, moi c'est Pierre, je suis étudiant en marketing et je suis un des cofondateurs de Cook For Me. Alors on avait la volonté de proposer un service de cuisine, de plats préparés. Pour ça, on s'est inspiré du projet de Nicolas Van Reyman. On a voulu y apporter une dimension plus communautaire afin de stabiliser notre offre et notre demande. Tout ça dans l'objectif d'avoir un projet qui soit cohérent tant bien de notre point de vue que du point de vue de la clientèle. Alors comment on s'est trouvé? Tout part d'une volonté de proposer un service de plats préparés. Pour ça, qu'est-ce qu'il nous fallait? Il nous fallait un entrepreneur, un informaticien, un cuisinier. C'est comme ça qu'est née la team Cook For Me. Alors comme vous en doutez, période Covid, on a une grosse période de pause et c'est pour ça qu'avec Julien, on a décidé de reprendre le projet et de le relancer à 1000 à l'heure.
Cook For Me, qu'est-ce que c'est? C'est à la base une plateforme collaborative entre étudiants qui permettent de partager des plats d'étudiants qui adorent cuisiner avec des étudiants qui ont la flemme et qui n'ont pas envie de manger des pâtes au ketchup toute la semaine. Donc notre challenge, c'est tout simplement d'arriver à un modèle stable. Et comment est-ce qu'on fait ça? En acquérant la confiance de notre communauté. Comment est-ce qu'on l'acquiert? En tangibilisant tous nos services, ça va par la création d'un site, avec les paiements en ligne sécurisés bien évidemment. On est en train de faire une application, on a déjà un groupe Facebook avec lequel on entretient notre relation avec les clients. On a aussi pour objectif de professionnaliser nos chefs en leur proposant des ateliers et des formations, que ce soit à l'hygiène, à la cuisine ou tout simplement aux photos culinaires. On est suivi par l'incubateur de Louvain-la-Neuve qui nous propose les conseils d'un coach, Alok Nandi, et évidemment d'un espace de coworking, mais également une communauté d'incubés qui nous permettent de faire évoluer notre projet au mieux. On aimerait faire démocratiser la cuisine au plus grand nombre, pour tous et par tous, grâce à des ateliers, des formations et évidemment des plats préparés tout autour de nous.
Notre mission elle est très simple, c'est proposer une cuisine saine, variée et qui profite à l'économie locale. Comme l'a dit Julien, on commence avec une plateforme collaborative pour étudiants qui ont la flemme de cuisiner, mais on a une vision bien plus grande, c'est de créer un réseau de chefs amateurs désireux de proposer leur cuisine tout autour d'eux, tout en se créant un revenu complémentaire.
We now have with us Cook For Me. Thank you for joining us. The floor is open for the questions. Olivier, please.
I've heard of a co-working space, a startup a few years back, which was called Flavor. I don't know if you heard about it, but they stranded because they couldn't cope with the safety regulations and hygiene regulations regarding this, because you can't actually be sure that a student who made it actually made it in a safe environment. How are you coping with that?
Yeah, we are conscious about this problem. This was the biggest challenge of Money Next Door also. And that's why we have been really proactive with the relation with the AFSCA. We already met the AFSCA. They were really, they enjoyed our project. And that's why excuse me, can I switch in French?
Tu peux switcher, au pire je ferai la traduction.
Ok, donc on a eu le problème l'AFSCA, on a été vers eux, on a eu des rendez-vous avec eux, ils ont adoré notre projet.
We discussed with AFSCA, so the Agency for Food Chain Security, they had discussions together, they loved the project.
Et en regardant cette problématique, on a compris qu'il fallait former les chefs, leur proposer une vraie valeur ajoutée.
And what they saw, thanks to those discussions, is that they really needed to train those amateur chefs to be sure that they respect the norms of hygiene.
Et c'est là tout le concept de Cook for Me, c'est de proposer une formation, une réelle valeur ajoutée pour la personne.
So to have a real value for the chefs and for the old people, not only by training them.
Et donc les cuisiniers amateurs vont, grâce à nous, se créer un revenu complémentaire, se créer une activité complémentaire. Et c'est tout.
Helping them create another revenue stream.
Yes. Et justement, en rebondissant là-dessus, la première chose qui sera indispensable à tout cuisinier pour devenir chef chez Cook for Me, c'est la formation à l'hygiène, que nous proposerons de la manière la plus...
Really mandatory, and it's the cornerstone of those amateur chefs joining Cook for Me.
L'idée est de proposer cette formation de la manière la plus simplifiée et la plus optimisée possible, sans en altérer la qualité de la formation.
Making sure that the training is as short and efficient as possible without compromising quality. Another question from the jury. Maybe? No? Nobody? Okay. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you.
I now would like to introduce yet another of our sponsors, WowLab. WowLab is a growth marketing agency that can help you scale by developing a sustainable engagement with your community. Now, the next student project will be Crusoe. So, same format, we'll watch the video for 2 minutes and then we'll have time for a couple of Q&As.
Bonjour, moi c'est Guillaume de la team Crusoe.
Et moi c'est Marine, et puis à côté nous avons aussi Antoine, donc nous sommes 3 dans le projet Crusoe.
Marine est partie en Erasmus l'année passée, Antoine est en Erasmus maintenant, et moi je suis fan de bikepacking. D'ailleurs, à 3, on a voyagé dans tous les continents du monde. C'est pourquoi on a décidé de lancer l'application Crusoe.
Donc nous nous sommes tous les 3 rencontrés lors du programme CPME à l'UCL, donc qui est un programme d'entrepreneuriat. Nous avons tous les 3 les mêmes convictions et les mêmes hobbies, et ce qui a fait que c'était naturel de travailler tous les 3 ensemble.
L'application Crusoe permet de créer son voyage plus simplement. Sur Crusoe, vous trouverez les voyages de tous vos amis et vous pourrez donc vous en inspirer pour créer votre propre voyage. Crusoe se place donc avant le voyage en s'inspirant des autres voyages, pendant le voyage puisque vous pourrez voir toutes les activités que vous avez encore à faire pour les prochains jours et après le voyage en partageant vos expériences à toute votre communauté. Nous sommes actuellement dans une phase de développement de l'application. Nous avons déjà pu tester avec certains bêta-testeurs la première version de l'application et maintenant nous développons la suite des fonctionnalités.
Il est clair que sur le marché du tourisme, il y a beaucoup d'acteurs qui jouent des rôles importants, mais justement nous, ce que nous voulons mettre en avant, c'est vraiment les bons plans de nos amis. Vraiment des bons plans qui sont personnels et qu'on est sûr d'aimer. Et quoi de mieux que de demander conseil à nos amis qui connaissent nos habitudes et nos goûts. Donc c'est pour ça que nous avons vraiment voulu mettre en place Crusoe, une plateforme qui est là pour centraliser le tout sur ce que nos amis nous conseillent.
Comme Marine l'a dit, on a lancé le projet dans le cadre de CPME. On est donc soutenu par l'UCL Il y a 1 an, on a eu également la chance de rentrer dans l'incubateur, le Incubateur de Louvain-la-Neuve.
Aujourd'hui, les plateformes prônent beaucoup plus la quantité d'informations plutôt que la qualité. Et justement là est l'impact de Crusoe. Nous vous proposons des voyages complètement personnalisés, proposés par vos amis, donc vous êtes sûr de la qualité.
Crusoe permet de connecter les voyageurs pour parcourir le monde plus simplement. Grâce à Crusoe, découvre et partage le monde à ta façon.
Welcome, Team Crusoe. Are you ready for the grill?
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Great. Do you remember who has a question? I think Emna has a question.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Very cool video. What's the business model behind Crusoe? How do you plan to make money?
So we have 2 models that we will use. The first one is a premium, so that we have an option that you can create and collaborate with all your friends to make the trip on the application. And besides, we have also a Crusoe store with a platform where the influencers can share their trip and they can sell it on the platform. So we have a commission on that part, and before it is an option that they can buy.
Did that answer your question, Emna?
Yes, thank you.
Perfect. Another question, maybe? Claire, please. Go.
Yes, how do you intend to grow your community since these platforms are about content and lots of content?
Yeah, for sure. Do you want to? We will use, for the first part, we will really use Facebook, Instagram, so to grow up the community. But also each time you will create a trip, you can share it to others, and so it's the effet boule de neige, we will say it in French.
We will also take an influencer from Instagram and other platforms to keep their community on Crusoe.
Great, thank you guys. Claire, did that answer your question? Yeah, perfect. Thanks again for joining us. Now we will have yet another small display by one of our partners. This event wouldn't be possible without valuable help and funding, and Xerius is one of those sponsors funding us.
Zelfstandige worden, dat is meer dan ooit teamwork. Ga gerust van start als zelfstandige. Van btw-nummer tot eenmanszaak, onze experts helpen je op weg. Xerius, dat is ondernemen.
And the next video now is Fix and Bike.
Tout d'abord, nous devons créer une structure IT informatique efficace, donc avec une application ou un site qui fonctionne. Bonjour, moi c'est Guillaume Valentin et je suis l'ingénieur civil en option mécanique de l'équipe Fix and Bike.
Je m'appelle Océane et je m'occupe vraiment de la partie communication de l'équipe Fix and Bike.
Je m'appelle Adrien Pinchard et je suis responsable des finances et du marketing au sein de Fix and Bike.
Après discussion avec notre équipe, on a remarqué qu'il y avait un réel manque sur le marché. Donc actuellement, faire des réparations de vélo, les délais sont super longs et donc le client doit se priver de son vélo pendant des semaines parfois. Donc c'est de là qu'est venue l'idée du projet de Fix and Bike.
On s'est tous les 3 rencontrés lors d'un séminaire organisé par notre master en commun. Directement, il y a eu match. Nous partageons les mêmes valeurs. Après de longues discussions, nous avons décidé de lancer un projet ensemble.
Donc, en 2 mots, Fix and Bike est un service qui simplifie la réparation des vélos. Et plus concrètement, ça consiste en une plateforme en ligne qui va mettre en relation des particuliers avec des réparateurs de vélos. Ces réparateurs sont en fait des indépendants qui travaillent pour l'entreprise. La spécificité de notre projet, c'est qu'il ne nécessite vraiment aucun déplacement de la part du client. Donc vraiment, tout le monde peut planifier une réparation au moment et au lieu souhaité.
Donc nous avons différents challenges. Tout d'abord, nous devons créer une structure IT informatique efficace, donc avec une application ou un site qui fonctionne bien pour notre réseau de réparateurs et nos clients. Ensuite, nous devons nous assurer d'avoir un réseau de réparateurs suffisant pour que notre business fonctionne.
Donc, on est avant tout soutenu par CPME, qui est cette formation à laquelle on participe tous les 3. Et en 2 mots, c'est un programme qui vise vraiment à former et ouvrir les jeunes étudiants au monde de l'entrepreneuriat.
Notre objectif est d'être une entreprise durable. Pour cela, nous souhaitons que nos clients partagent les mêmes valeurs que nous et nous souhaitons rendre le monde un peu plus durable. Notre mission est de simplifier le quotidien du plus grand nombre de cyclistes en proposant un service de réparation personnalisé. La vision de Fix & Bike est de devenir le leader belge de la réparation de vélos.
Welcome, Fix & Bike. Thank you for joining us. Are you ready for the grill?
We are.
Kind of ready, okay. What are the questions that are burning? Nicolas, please.
Very interesting. I think you hit a very big and growing market. The cyclists, I am part of them. And my question is, how can you repair, or can you repair a lot of default, a lot of breakdowns, or you will be limited to some kind of breakdowns? In other words, can you really make the full repair service as a store? Because you say that in a store it takes 2 weeks. Why can you make it very quickly? That's the question, in fact.
Well, actually, it's a good question. Thank you for that. We are plenty aware that we can't fix everything with a few parts at the home of a certain person or at its work. However, 90%, we estimate that 90% of the repairers can directly repair your bike where you want with very few tools. So we have one of the members of the team who is not here with us today, Guillaume, who is a specialist in bikes. He's hardly a professional biker, and he explained us, and we are developing our skills about that, but we truly believe that it can be done for 90% of the cases quickly when we have the tools with us.
All right. Did that answer your question, Nicolas? Great. One more question. Please, Olivier.
The stage of the project at the moment? So where have you already customers? Is the IT platform live? Where are you at the moment?
Well, we're still really at the very beginning of the project, so it's still market research. We still have to hit the repairers, and so it's still really the beginning of the project for now.
Yeah, but you need to start somewhere, so that's perfectly fine. Did that answer your question, Olivier? Okay, maybe one more question this time. I think we've... Peter?
When I heard saw your project, I thought immediately at Uber. You are the Uber for bike repairing, but as you know, Uber has a lot of problems in our country with social aspects. Have you thought about that?
Thank you, Johan, for your question. It's true. Several people told us we are the kind of the Uberization of the reparation of bikes. However, we only have the color of our logo, who is equal. Our values are quite different. As we said in the video, we want to be a sustainable company, so it means the social part is utterly important for us. For instance, we are thinking about integrating repairers who are in a professional rehabilitation. So that's one point that we are right now investigating.
Did that answer your question, Peter? Yeah. Okay, thank you guys for joining us. This is already the fourth and last project that we will see now. We will watch together the last video of Vitalife.
Bonjour à tous, je m'appelle Lorenz Sanguerer et j'ai 22 ans. Je suis actuellement en 3e année de bachelor à l'ULB en sciences politiques et je suis rentré au Start Lab pour lancer mon entreprise Vitalife en septembre. Donc comment j'en suis arrivé à cette idée? Je me suis rendu compte que le système des prises de sang était daté et n'avait pas évolué depuis plusieurs décennies. Et donc il n'est plus en phase avec notre monde actuel. C'est pour ça que je me suis dit il fallait que je trouve une solution. Et c'est pour ça que j'ai pensé à Vitalife. Avec Vitalife, vous pourrez apprendre à connaître votre corps et suivre son évolution depuis le confort de votre canapé. Pour le moment, je suis seul dans mon projet, mais évidemment, à moyen et à long terme, j'envisage d'employer et de m'associer, pourquoi pas avec un médecin généraliste. Donc si toi, tu es médecin généraliste et que l'idée te plaît, contacte-moi avec plaisir et on verra ce que ça donne. Vitalife est un service de prélèvement sanguin révolutionnaire, semi-autonome, réalisé par le client lui-même. Actuellement, je suis en phase de test du matériel afin de vérifier qu'il marche bien et je cherche un laboratoire partenaire. Donc mes challenges actuels, ce sont toutes les réglementations qui sont liées au domaine de la santé et auxquelles je suis confronté chaque jour. Les opportunités pour Vitalife sont juste immenses. Le domaine de la santé est selon moi le domaine qui va le plus évoluer durant les 10-20 prochaines années, voire plus. Avec Vitalife, je permets à tout à chacun de reprendre le contrôle sur sa santé et de suivre son évolution. Je développe mon projet Vitalife au sein de l'incubateur de l'ULB, le Start Lab. Actuellement, le système des prises de sang prend du temps, de l'organisation et fait mal. C'est pourquoi, avec Vitalife, vous n'aurez plus à prendre votre journée pour faire des analyses, vous n'aurez plus mal lorsque vous ferez votre prise de sang et vous pouvez le faire vous-même depuis chez vous. Grâce à notre dispositif antidouleur et totalement sécurisé, nous avons pour mission, chez Vitalife, de développer notre service autour du monde, mais d'abord en Europe, afin de détecter un maximum de maladies et dans un avenir proche, pouvoir détecter des maladies telles que le cancer, le diabète ou d'autres maladies cardiovasculaires.
Thank you for joining us. Are you ready for the grill?
Yes.
Okay, he's ready for
Hello.
the grill. Who has a question? Claire has a question. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you for the presentation. Before starting this project, did you check out what's out there on the market or competition in this new area?
Yes, of course. So it started in the US with Theranos, so you probably know about it. And in Europe, actually, there is one concurrent in England, which is called Triva, one in Spain and one in Germany, but none in France, none in Belgium, none in Switzerland, and no in Luxembourg or Italy. So there is a large opportunity to gain the market with Vitalife.
Did that answer your question, Claire? Yeah? Okay, another question. Yeah.
Yes, Theranos was kind of a scam, so yeah, I'm just wondering how you will tackle this challenge. Do you have already a prototype or just a plan? Because they've spent for Theranos millions of dollars, so yeah, I'm wondering how you're gonna do.
So the Theranos system wasn't accurate at all, and it was just based on the idea. But for me, I'm working with an American company that built the device that I want to use, and I already tested on me, and it worked well. So it's quite promising.
Yeah. Okay, one last question to close it off. Maybe? No? Okay, then I think I can thank you for joining us tonight.
Thanks, everyone.
This was already the last of the student projects, which means that the votes are starting. So for you sitting at home, you can scan the QR code that you should see or click on the link, and you can start voting for your favorite project. We'll have a couple of minutes to do so, but hurry up. Time is pressing. In the meantime, we'll also watch a short message from one of our sponsors, BNP Paribas Fortis. Just after. You have 1 more minute to vote. So we have, if you are just joining us now, hello, good evening everyone. If you're just joining us now, this is already the third part of our evening. We've seen the student startups, we've seen the student projects, and now it's time for our panel talk. This talk will be about entrepreneurship in the era of COVID and climate change. Two big challenges or two big opportunities. To discuss this during the next 15 or 20 minutes, I have three guests tonight that accepted to join us, even in those challenging times of COVID. We have Marc Andries on the left, who is the General Administrator of Vlaio. Vlaio is your partner if you are a SME or a company and you need any sort of help in the Flemish region of Belgium. We have Barbara Tracht, who's the Secretary of State for the Brussels Capital Region, and also the Minister President of the COCAF. And finally, we have Jean-Pierre Di Bartolomeo, who was also, like Marc, our guest last year, I believe. Jean-Pierre, you are the President of Sowalfin. Sowalfin, is it fair to say that it's more or less the same as Vlaio? It's fair, okay. Might be small differences, or? Okay, very few differences, okay. Absolutely. So I have a couple of questions to ask you, and if you are home watching us, you know that you can use the WooClap and ask your questions or vote for the questions that you believe are most relevant. I will start shooting the questions, and then hopefully I'll have a few popping there on my screen from you guys watching us at home. The first question I have in this very challenging time of, maybe let's start with thinking of this as a challenge, and then we'll open up and see it as an opportunity. Do you, the three of you, believe that the pandemic made it more difficult for young entrepreneurs to close the funding needed for their ventures? Who wants to take it? Yeah. Please, Barbara.
Is it?
Yes, it's better. This. If you can use it, that would be awesome.
Right. And may I speak in French?
Absolutely,
That's
absolutely.
Nice. Donc oui, c'est évident que pour tous les entrepreneurs, la crise rend plus difficile l'accès au financement.
The crisis makes funding more difficult for all entrepreneurs, obviously.
Oui, parce que la crise a affecté une série d'acteurs économiques.
Because it affected so many different actors.
Et forcément, la confiance que peuvent avoir les investisseurs habituels est plus faible. Parce qu'on est devant un grand nombre d'incertitudes, ou même la volonté d'entreprendre peut être affectée par une crise comme celle qu'on est en train de connaître.
The trust of investors, as you say, is maybe lower, and as an entrepreneur or as a starter, it's even more difficult in those times to take the courage to launch your venture. Maybe Jean-Pierre or Marc, could you tell us a bit what Sowalfin on the other hand and also Vlaio is doing to help the entrepreneurs in those tough times?
A lot.
A lot. Do you have a couple of examples?
In all possible ways.
Yep.
Of course, there is our regular service that we already had. And we have seen, and I think this is a positive sign, that our innovation support that we have, which is our core business as Vlaio, and we are the entrepreneurship and innovation agency in Flanders. But, and we have subsidies, we have support for companies who want to innovate. and that the number of requests that we get are even higher last year than were the years before. We were a little afraid of that. Would that happen? It could be that with the crisis of COVID, with a lot of problems in a lot of companies, that companies would go in survival modus and that they would not think about innovation, because thinking about innovation is thinking about the future. But I'm very happy to say that didn't happen. We even got more requests, a lot more requests last year, and the quality of those projects were even better than were in the past. So we were very happy to do that. Of course, we also helped companies to survive. If a company has to close down for good reasons, of course, by government rules, I think it is fair to help them survive, to give them some cash to survive and to fit their obligations that they have towards others, towards their staff, towards their housing accommodation, and other companies, of course. And of course we did that, and we did that in a very short time. We set up new initiatives, new kind of support that even didn't exist 1 year ago. Okay. So it was a very tough year for us, but of course it was an even more tough year for the companies that we try to help.
Okay, thank you for this detailed answer. Jean-Pierre, if you want to comment also on what Sowalfin is doing. Yeah, the mic.
Okay, thank you.
We can hear you.
But first of all, I think we're living tough times. As the minister said, it's times where when you cannot see the exit of the tunnel, you're just afraid. And if you're a financial person, actor, you don't like uncertainty. But on the other side, it's maybe the best period to make sense of what you're doing in your life. And with young entrepreneurs, we found really huge energy. We have a program at Sowalfin that's called Génération Entreprenante. I would like to thank my team of Génération Entreprenante tonight, because they support UStart, they support all these activities, because
Bruno App was part
Bruno,
of
Cecilia, and I really thank them to make the connection between students and entrepreneurs for the Walloon region, because it's very important to get this contact with students and to give them the chance to build their own career and to give sense to what they are doing. Yeah. And we're facing today a new generation of young entrepreneurs, and I would like to say that it's very motivating for us to have this young generation coming, and very good values, and I would like to thank my team.
Okay, thank you for commenting on that. And for those of you watching us at home, if you are going through tough times, don't forget that there are many systems and organizations at your disposal to help you facing this very tough period. It is tough for everyone, but with a bit of luck, we'll get better out of it. COVID can also be an opportunity. Any idea, any comment on COVID as an opportunity? Things you've heard, or things you maybe some also mechanisms or types of subsidies for tackling this COVID opportunity? I think Barbara, you had some. Yeah.
Oui. Donc je pense qu'il est apparu assez clairement qu'il y avait des opportunités en termes de relocalisation de l'activité proche de chez nous, en Belgique, à Bruxelles.
A big opportunity of relocating closer to us the production. Yeah.
On a vu aussi les consommateurs se diriger vers des commerces locaux, des activités locales, vouloir consommer beaucoup plus proche de chez eux et soutenir des activités économiques locales. Et par ailleurs, en termes de financement, ce qu'on a constaté aussi avec les confinements, c'est une augmentation de l'épargne privée, et donc des possibilités aussi pour les futurs entrepreneurs de capter des moyens aussi pour lancer leur activité auprès de leurs proches. Et donc oui, c'est une crise difficile pour l'entrepreneuriat, mais elle recèle aussi en elle-même des opportunités qui seront bonnes pour l'entrepreneuriat, aussi bonnes pour l'environnement et la lutte contre le réchauffement climatique, puisqu'on relocalise des activités proches de chez nous.
Absolutely. So as you say, both a challenge but also an opportunity to relocate things closer to us and make sure that we have the available production capacities for the potential challenges ahead at some point. And I think this is also a very good transition towards the other part of this panel talk, because COVID is probably our most pressing issue in the short term, but another very big challenge awaiting us is climate change and the challenges related to this. I believe we don't have a lot of questions yet, and if you are at home watching us, I'd be very pleased to see your questions here popping on my screen, so really don't hesitate. But back to you, both Barbara, Marc, and Jean-Pierre. In your opinion, what are, how should I phrase it? What are currently the mechanism at the disposition of the entrepreneurs that are watching us and we really want to tackle climate change? How, like, what's their disposal? Maybe on top of what's already existing, so the funding, the guarantees for the loans. Maybe, yeah, Marc and Jean-Pierre.
Well, I think there is a big need for solutions.
Yeah.
A lot of people want to do something about the climate problem in their own daily life, in their lifestyle. A lot of companies want to do that, small companies, but also the big companies like the chemical industry, the steel industry. They are more and more aware of the problem and that they are part of the problem, of course, but also that they want to be part of the solution. It's no need to close down all those companies who have very large emissions. We have to find new ways to do their productions. And there is a market that is open. A lot of those companies are looking for solutions. There is a lot of science, of course, that is telling us what to do. But of course, we need to make from that science technical solutions which are on the market. And I think there is a room for a lot of opportunities for young entrepreneurs, for technical entrepreneurs, for engineers, entrepreneurs, to come with the solutions of the future. And I think if you find solutions, there will be a market in that way. Yeah.
Okay. Jean-Pierre, if you'd like to also comment on that, maybe?
Yeah, of course. I take the point of view of Marc, and then I continue with engineer, technologies. There was a paper today in the Eco saying that engineers now are more business orientated than before, and they want to make the world change. So we have really first of all, the awareness of students, all the awareness programs to make them aware of the climate change and the need to make this concrete. And on the other side, we have also incubators, student incubators, and we notice that 25% of the project in student incubators are connected with the climate change. Okay. And that's very important for us to know that the projects are there, they are coming, and it's our job to make so that they will be business bankable or business affordable, and to make them keep going for the future. Yeah. So we're really facing a new generation of students, and with, for example, the mini entreprise, they all be thinking of people, profit, planet. We notice that. So the generation is there.
That's amazing, and that's
it's our job.
News too. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. So it's our job now to give you all the tools to the new generation, to give you the tools to succeed.
And are there new specific tools for this era of climate change, or is it? Would you say it's the same tools that were already existing? Well, obviously, but are there other tools that are specific to this challenge of climate change or opportunity of climate change?
If I take the Walloon region, we have, of course, the student some games to learn. For example, building his own bag, and you know that when you're building your bag, you have waste, and with the waste you can make a portfolio and so on.
Okay, so thinking towards the circular economy.
Yeah, of course, we do that at school, and we do the same with chocolate industry. When you're doing some chocolate praline and so on, you know that with the waste you can do something else, and so on. So this is what we try to do, to make that concrete and to make the student in situation of doing business, and of course to come, to Marc said, concrete action and business.
Absolutely. And maybe Barbara, if you'd like to comment further on this.
No, il y a énormément d'opportunités dans de nombreux secteurs. Il y a des secteurs de nature technologique,
Yeah.
mais il y a aussi une série de secteurs tout à fait concrets, pratiques, des biens qu'on consomme tous les jours. Ça va de l'alimentation,
Not only technological, but also food or other sectors.
Textile. Il y a dans un très grand nombre de secteurs tout à fait concrets. Il y a
Many
aussi
different
des
sectors.
possibilités de créer de la
Possibilities are
prospérité,
endless.
des entreprises, de l'activité économique, mais aussi de l'emploi et des emplois. Et puis il y a des secteurs directement liés au changement climatique, comme la rénovation. Dans le secteur de la construction, dans les prochaines années, il va y avoir des opportunités de création d'activités économiques énormes. Et on peut être les premiers, aussi sur le plan technologique. On peut être le phare de l'Europe ou du monde entier sur... on l'a été pour les bâtiments passifs. On peut devenir
Also in
les
construction,
champions
we can be the light bulb of
de la rénovation et être ceux qu'on
Champions
regarde.
of renovation.
Et je pense que c'est un objectif que
And be the ones
j'espère que
people
nous
look up to.
partageons. Et pour lequel il y a pour les jeunes, de manière tout à fait concrète, des opportunités qui vont venir dans les mois qui viennent.
Very tangible opportunities for the youth out there. Thank you, Barbara, for those comments. I see that one of the questions asked by you guys watching us at home, guys and girls, is are new startups conscious about climate change? And I heard Jean-Pierre already answered this question. I think you said 25% of the new projects you are in touch with are more geared towards the people, planet, and profit, right?
Startups, yeah.
Yeah. Is it the same for you, Mark, from what you...
I have a number, but I think more and more companies, new companies that start up are, of course, they are still money driven. Of course, it is important for businessmen and for people who have an own business to make their living and to offer value to their shareholders and people who have given money to them. But more and more companies are also purpose driven. They want to change something. They want to do something for the society and for the world. And I think that's a very good thing, that you can be money-driven and purpose-driven at the same time.
Yeah, so you can have both your cake.
Of course, why not?
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. Maybe one last question, and then it will already be time to move on with the end of this evening. A burning question that I have here written, and also that I see reflected in the questions, is there's been quite a lot of budget allocated to COVID in the last year, which is very fair. Maybe Barbara, if you can answer, or also Jean-Pierre and Marc, what will be the budget for entrepreneurs tackling the climate issues in the next few years? Any comment on that?
C'est difficile de dire un budget. On va investir dans des secteurs qui vont être des secteurs porteurs pour l'avenir.
It's hard to put a figure. We'll invest in the...
À Bruxelles, on a décidé de dégager des grands moyens, par exemple, pour la rénovation des bâtiments et pour inciter les privés, les personnes, etc., à investir elles aussi dans la rénovation de leurs bâtiments.
In Brussels, we are focusing on renovation of buildings.
Mais ça va être quelque chose aussi de transversal, je veux dire, à travers toutes les activités, y compris celles de grandes entreprises qui changent aussi, qui sont dans une transition. Là aussi, on va les aider et investir pour les aider à se transformer. Le changement climatique, c'est un défi qui nous concerne tous. Et donc, ce qui est important, c'est qu'à travers tous les budgets existants ou futurs, on tienne compte de cet enjeu, qu'on n'investisse plus dans les énergies du passé et dans celles qui ont provoqué le changement climatique, mais au contraire, qu'on aille vers une transition dans l'investissement.
Okay, I thank you very much, Marc, Barbara, and Jean-Pierre for joining us. We are already at the last part of this evening. But before we continue with the prizes, we have a small break. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back for those who were there already. Tonight, we had 4 pitches by student startups. We had 4 pitches by student projects through videos, and it's now time to discover, on the one hand, the winning startup of the year, and on the other hand, the winning student project of the year. I hear everyone is excited here in our studio. And without further ado, the prize, you are all curious what's involved. The prize for the student project of the year first will be 1,500 euros in the form of coaching from our partners Impulse Now and Xerius. And the prize for the student startup of the year will be 10,000 euros, split through 5,000 cash and 5,000 in the form of coaching from our different partners. As you remember, some of those partners are Ifori, Impulse Now, WowLab, and Xerius. It's time. Everyone is excited and eager to know the winning student project of the year. I will ask our team if we could have some form of drum roll. I hear the drum roll from afar. And the winning student project of the year is Crusoe. I now invite them to join us on stage to say a quick word.
Thanks a lot for supporting us, and we are happy to see that a lot of people believe in our project and follow us.
We hope to see you very soon on our Crusoe app and see you and that we share together passion for travel.
Thank you guys, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Crusoe is elected by both the jury and you guys and girls watching at home, Student Project of the Year. Now for the Student Startup of the Year. As I said, what's at stake is 10,000 euros, 5,000 cash, 5,000 in services from our partners. I hear the drum roll from the team. The Student Startup of the Year is Tulipal.
Excited. Thank you very much to all the people that follow us, our ambassadors, the organists that support us, and the rest of the team which is not here today.
I think so. Thank you very much for
Thanks.
Thank you guys and congratulations. I'd like to invite our partner BNP Paribas Fortis, who will give the check. Thank you, Nathalie.
There we go. So congratulations to a well-deserved winner, although we as a jury had a really difficult task in making a choice. There can only be one, but congratulations to all 4 finalists. All projects were very well developed, nice pitches, so there's definitely a future for all of you. But first of all, honor to the victors, so congratulations and use it well.
Thank you.
Thank you very much and congratulations once again. This already closes this wonderful evening, this wonderful event. Thank you for joining us from the comfort of your home. We have quite a few people to thank for the success of this event. First and foremost, our different sponsors, BNP Paribas Fortis, Xerius, Ifori, WowLab, Impulse Now. We'd also like to thank the different jury members who came here, respecting obviously the social distancing and the safety measures to come and join us. In the jury there was Emna Evrard from Casidomi, Claire Monk from Be Angels, Nathalie Koch from BNP Paribas Fortis, Nicolas Tezel from Exki, Peter Timmermans from the FEB, and Olivier Kegels. In the panel today, we also would like to thank Barbara Tracht, Marc Andris, and Jean-Pierre Di Bartolomeo for joining us. And finally, we'd love to thank the amazing Brussels video crew and Ultralux, which enabled us to give you this event in the comfort of your home. And obviously, thanks to the whole UStart team, and especially Arnaud and Gilles for making this happen. Thank you very much, everybody, and have a great evening. Bye.